Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Iron Man. And the reason I said that twice is because this is the special edition, which is based on the old Marvel Legends, and this is like this 20 years anniversary type throwback thing. Generally, I'm for that type of thing. It's got some nice nostalgia attached to it, and I think that's what they're banking on. Unfortunately, with that nostalgia, I can't speak anymore. With that nostalgia, we also get a pretty hefty price point and some problems with these figures that we probably shouldn't have. So despite the qualities, there are some things that we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. But before we get into the rest of the video, we have to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Into the AM. They are the elevated clothing company. They have all of these cool designs in the t-shirts. They have other things too, but I really focus on the graphic tees because I love them, and I think you guys will too. Most of you have bought them. Not most of you, I don't know. A lot of you have bought them and told me you love them. Some of you were telling me you're buying like 10 or 12 at a time. That's awesome. I have that many. I wear them every day. They don't fade. They don't wear out. They look amazing. They have a ton of new designs. This is one of them. I actually wanted to wear this one, but it's just a little bit less colorful, so I figured I would just show it to you, wear the colorful one, and then show you another colorful one too. These are some of their new ones. You guys have already seen all the ones I've been wearing. They have tons. They have tons of new ones, tons of old ones. They do sell out fast, but they do restock, so don't worry too much, but you do want to get in there. But yeah, you can get all kinds of different things on their site, and if you want to save some money, you can use the link in the description below. That'll save you some money. You can also bundle the graphic tees or the regular tees, or you can do the subscription service where you save even more money, but you don't get to pick the shirt. Totally up to you, but I definitely recommend you check them out. They're super comfortable, they look great, they fit great, can't beat them. Love these shirts. They are the best graphic tees I have ever worn, so check them out, link in the description below. This guy stands just, well, not really, it's almost exactly, not just about, almost exactly 17 centimeters, which is going to make him not quite exactly 6 3/4 inches, just shy of that. Very, very close though. And it's the same Iron Man build that we've seen 30 or 40 times now, which is fine because it's really good. It's the way to do a classic Iron Man. I have no problem with that. They're doing a classic Iron Man here. I'm perfectly happy with them reusing this mold. There's not a whole lot they can do to improve it. It has slightly janky proportions here and there and weird stuff, but nothing major at all. Like, it's nowhere near in need of as much help as this Captain America figure is, so I'm very happy with that. Speaking of, let's just do a quick comparison so you guys can see these classics next to each other. There you go. Just about nipple height, if he has high nipples, which he doesn't. And then Cap is just slightly shorter. So that's appropriate, I think. Okay, question of the day. Are you guys for or against this new Marvel Legends line of Marvel Legends? For me, the price point is just too dang high, and the figures don't have as much going for them as I would have hoped for that special collector's bonus price point. Not even close, and this guy's a perfect example of that. Cap was a pretty good example. Hulk was average-ish. So let's go ahead and just dive in on this guy for the aesthetic. Glossy yellow, that's fine. I like that. Semi-glossy red, that's fine. I think the colors are appropriate for what they were going for. That's okay. The chest repulsor, the arc reactor, it does have a little bit of white and yellow shading in there, so that is okay by me. His little nipple thingies are very, very, very poorly painted. This one had a whole bunch of yellow out here on the chest. I just scratched it off and there's still some left, so that blows. There's no shading throughout any of the yellow at all, or any of the main red parts either. They're just solid blanket glossy or semi-glossy plastic. We do get a wash on his diaper, and you'll see basically just the black line work there. Same thing for the wrists, and same thing for the boots, and same thing for his noodle, his noggin. And generally that's pretty good. I have one major gripe though, in that there's no shading anywhere but those black lines, and I could live with it, I guess. But the hands are way darker than the rest of the reds. It's like they soaked the hands in the wash rather than just letting it sit in the lines like they did for everything else. So, like, his diaper doesn't look dramatically darker. His head doesn't look dramatically darker. His wrists don't look dramatically darker, but his hands, they're like not even close to the same color. So they put virtually no effort into a $35 Marvel Legends figure. Like, that hurts to say, just by the by. So that's a bit of a bummer. Also, there's paint blemishes and issues almost everywhere on this figure. His leg, these aren't even paint actually. This is in the molded plastic as far as I can tell. There's red spots on here. I don't know how that could be. Maybe it's paint that somehow is just really well on there that I can't get it off, but they're on here right here. It looks like there's another one over here. His arm and shoulder have just, it looks like somebody with a bloody hand was handling this figure. There's red all over his tricep and on the shoulder. There's a bunch of smudges back here on his hammy. So I don't know what's going on, but for the premium price point, I expect my Marvel Legends to at least be up to standard Marvel Legends standards, which it's not. I will say though, they nailed the face. It's super clean. Good sculpt, good paint. Love that. Love that a whole bunch. The sculpt is great for the head, except I'm not sure about the lines there. Those striations, I don't remember them ever looking like that. Maybe they did on the original release, but I don't remember that at all. I remember the original release having a smooth head. I can't remember for sure. Not a smooth brain, but a smooth head. I don't know. It's okay, I guess. I don't remember Iron Man ever having those kind of lines, but whatever. So yeah, like, it's generally a good mold, and that's fine, and they did a good job with the head, but the lack of paint and then the horrible application of the wash that's on there really detracts from this figure, and considering it's a premium Marvel Legends figure, that's not acceptable by my standards. So I'm going to give this guy an aesthetic rating, despite my inner collector wanting it to be higher, a 5 out of 10. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. This guy's paint was all jacked up based on the decisions they made. This one doesn't have any paint really, and what's there is just poorly done. This guy is the standard now for this line for shading and a good paint job despite its flaws. So Iron Man is a big fat disappointment. On to the accessories. We'll start with the best. We get this crappy little plastic base, which is hollow and cheap feeling and looking, with the card stock on the back, which looks like a comic on one side, and on the other side it's just an example of what the accessory could have been like it came with originally back 20 years ago. I think these card stocks are kind of pointless just because they're so small. Like, that's fine. If you want to just stand it like that or like that, it's okay for these normal size figures, but they basically cover the whole thing. And since that's how they're meant to be used, there are little peg holes on it, it's kind of pointless, like in a big way, and especially since Hulk had the same size one. Just gonna throw that out there. Hulk was like this in front of his, so even if you wanted to put Iron Man and Cap in front of theirs, Hulk's looks ridiculous. And these are like, they're made well enough, though mine's got a huge curve to it. I just don't really see the value added. At a $35 price point, this isn't enough. At least paint this or do something premium with it, like even just like some gold across the top of the letters, just something. But it's nothing. It's just a chintzy piece of plastic. We also get, it actually came with these on him, the repulsor hands and then the two fist hands. The repulsor hands do not have a hinge in them, and they do not have painted repulsors. They are only good for receiving the other accessory, which is, or are, the translucent blue blast effects, which I do think are very nice. I like those, but we should definitely have painted repulsor hands at this point, especially at this price point. It limits posability so much to just have peg holes in the hands. It looks bad. Give us painted ones also, or only, in fact. That's a bummer. We also get these smoke effects which wrap around his hand. I'm still not sold on that. I can get where they're going with it, but it's just, for me, it's the lazy effect part that doesn't really look good. Either you wrap it around the ankle or you wrap it around the wrist, and so the smoke is behind the blast, behind the source of the blast. It doesn't make any sense, so I don't care for those. And then we get what is deceptively a good head sculpt. Like, it looks really good. The sculpt is nice. The paint is actually pretty good. The hair shading is good. The sculpt is nice. Very, very pleased with it, but it doesn't fit on the figure properly. And not in the this head is bigger than the helmeted head sense that Iron Man always has, which is excusable because it would look weird for his helmeted head to be big enough to fit a head in it. That's fine, but it just doesn't fit on the peg. It's way too high. He's got a super lollipop, and it just looks ridiculous. So, accessory-wise, this guy is a big fat failure, especially since we get most of these accessories in normal releases. This guy is a big fat dud. I'm going to give the accessories a 5 out of 10, given the price point and the fact that standard $20 to $25 Marvel Legends come with as many accessories, except for the cardstock and the crappy base. So that kind of blows. All right, let's move on to the articulation, which will be no surprise because we've already talked about this before. The hinge does go back nicely for the neck. He can look up, he can look down. The head does sit properly, the helmeted head. Little tiny bit of attitude, but mostly you're just going to get your rotation and your hinge. Full rotation there for the shoulder. Hinge goes almost horizontal, that's acceptable. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow is fine. There is no wrist swivel up here, but you don't need it because you get it down here, and you get your hinge in the fist hands. Ab crunch on this guy. Does lean back. It's not great, but it's there. The radius is still weird. Don't know why they're having so much trouble with ab crunches these days. He barely leans forward. So he has super limited range of motion for no real reason. So that's kind of a bummer. Waist twist is okay. Hips go out to the side. A little bit better than 45. I was going to say it's about, but it's enough better to say it's better. So that's all right. Going forward, it's a decent enough kick. It's not quite all the way up, but it'll do. They don't really go back at all. You do get your thigh swivel. You do get your double jointed knee. That is fine. You do get a boot swivel if you want, which in conjunction with the ankle rocker, it'll give you good range. We'll show you that in a second. The ankle does go really far forward. I love that. Ankle goes all the way back. That's really good. And then the ankle rocker, which is already pretty decent, if you do it with that, you can get a really, really, really nice ankle rocker without putting the foot at any kind of angle. So that's a good combination there. Articulation's solid. It's not like extraordinary or impressive. It's just good. For this price point, this isn't even like in any way great articulation. It's just acceptable for a $20 Marvel Legends figure. So at this price point, it's definitely not good enough. But since these are just expensive Marvel Legends, I have to say it's okay. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. There's nothing that's egregiously bad. It's just not impressive. So Hasbro should really rethink trying to charge more for these figures. And if they have to make their bottom line, well, I don't know how that's going to work out for them. Because as far as I'm concerned, these figures don't come anywhere close to warranting the price points that they're trying to get. Fancy packaging is nice, but I'm not paying for the packaging. I'm paying for the product that's inside. And this figure is not worth 35 bucks, even with this card stock included, because that's worth about 75 cents, I'm guessing. Like, being generous, 75 cents. So this figure and the accessories, I'd say this is a $20 value right here. This is what I would be happy with for Marvel Legends. Even if you really wanted to eke out 25, maybe. But an extra 10 bucks, not buying it, not happy. I'm going to give this guy a final verdict of, he's the worst one of the bunch, and Cap was pretty bad. I'll give this guy a final verdict of 6 out of 10. The head sculpts are really nice, and the paints are clean on it, but that's really it. That is it. Even the unmasked head, even though it's sculpted well, it doesn't fit on the body, so what's the point? Super disappointed in this, guys. Like, I kind of expected this from Hasbro. Like, okay, so they're making these fancy throwback figures that should be really nice, but they also could just bank on nostalgia, and I'm thinking that's what they did. That was my hunch, and this is what they did. I'm not satisfied at all. I'm curious how you guys feel about these. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm getting a lot of comments saying that they're not worth it, so I'm thinking that's what I'm going to see more of. I'm also getting a lot of people asking me why I don't do like reveals and things for Hasbro like a lot of other people do, apparently. You'd have to ask Hasbro. I have some guesses, but I don't know. I've never made contact with somebody from Hasbro, not since like 10 years ago when I went to Comic-Con the first time. So if you guys are wondering why I'm not revealing new releases and things like that, take it up with them. That's not a judgment call I have made. So that's all I have for you. So let me know how you feel about this figure, guys. Let me know how you feel about the video by giving it a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. By the way, sharing is a new big metric for YouTube. I don't know why. So if you feel inclined to share this video, please do so. That would help out a whole bunch. And if you haven't subscribed, that's always a good thing too. You might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.